Blue Jackets are in California this week for probably a pretty easy stretch of games, honestly, but they've got the hardest opponent up first. Luckily, the Kings are both bad and dead right now, so we're going to talk about all of the injured defensemen. We're going to talk about how good the Kings actually are, and we're going to be talking about just how young this Blue Jackets team is today on Locked On Blue Jackets.
Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster. Thank you once again for making us your first listen or your first watch of the day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and also on YouTube. So if you are not a YouTube subscriber, make sure you go and hit that subscribe button for the chance to win a Rick Nash commemorative puck from his jersey retirement night. Once I hit 100 subscribers over on YouTube, I will be giving that away. So keep your eye out for that. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Today, we are talking to Sarah Avampato of Locked On Kings. It is a squadcast, a crossover edition of Locked On Blue Jackets and Locked On Los Angeles Kings, where we talk about all things both teams and also about how messy this game is going to be. We think there is going to be maximum chaos, and honestly, I'm here for it. So I'll just jump right into it. So the Blue Jackets are, hey, they've won 2 games in a row, which is super exciting. I don't expect that to last much longer, honestly. I would expect this weekend's game against the Kings to be a little bit of a mess, considering the Blue Jackets everything and the fact that the Kings just got curb stomped. So I thought I would invite friend of the show, friend of me, Sarah Avampato of Locked On LA Kings to come and talk about how all of the defensemen are dead and also what happened in that game. So I guess you know what? Let's just start there. What the heck?
What the heck? I mean, the answer is Colorado is so good it's disgusting. I think that this game, so obviously Blue Jackets fans, you aren't following the Kings. Congratulations. They just lost 9-3 to the Colorado Avalanche. The Twitter calls for "We want 10" went unheeded. They stopped at 9. The final goal was from Nate MacKinnon, and it was a Nate MacKinnon hat trick, and he didn't really even celebrate. So at least thanks to Nate MacKinnon for not rubbing it in our faces any more than necessary, although like the hats spilled down and took forever to clean up. The game, aside from the fact that the Kings and the Avalanche have just been terrible, like they've been terrible games all season, this game just really highlighted the disparity between top team in the league and team unexpectedly fighting for a playoff spot. Colorado is just, they're so good, it's disgusting. I hate it. I knew it wasn't going to be a good game because they're, again, very good. Even when they're bad, they're good. I do think I may have jinxed the situation because on my show previewing the game, I was like, well, at least most of the Avalanche's victories lately haven't been blowouts. They've been close games. So maybe this will be a close game too. That was a lie. It was not.
That was your first mistake, I think.
No, yeah, that was my first mistake. It was a bad game. It was one of those throw it away. There's no redeeming value in it. You're not going to learn anything from it other than just the Avalanche are really, really stupid good.
Yeah, the more I watch the Avalanche, or the more I see of the Avalanche, the more grateful I am that we got both of our games against them out of the way early. So the Blue Jackets were done with the Avalanche by November 11th or something. And we won both the games. We beat the Avalanche twice. And I was like, cool. Now they can heat up and do whatever they're going to do. And it's not my problem anymore. So, but this is something, so for Blue Jackets listeners who maybe don't pay attention to my every move, which weird, I guess, I am a part-time, occasional co-host over at Locked On Kings. We do Mini King Monday, which is ostensibly about the rain, but is mostly just unhinged chaos.
Yeah.
And so we were talking over there. All of your defensemen are dead.
Yeah.
Except
They're all
like
dead.
Roy. He's the only living defenseman in Los Angeles. So what's I don't know that you have any guys coming back either. Like this is basically what it looks like
Yeah. So
for
this is
playoffs.
this is basically what it looks like for now. So at one point recently, the only defenseman who was healthy, who had been on the opening night roster of the Kings, was Olimata, who is a player who exists. He's been kind of the scapegoat a lot, but he actually, like, I will give him credit, has looked a lot better as the season has gone on. He's had fewer bad games. But Drew Doughty just was announced that he is out for the rest of the season. He had some sort of wrist surgery. He got hurt back in March, and also additionally missed time early in the season with a knee leg thing. Sean Walker is out for the season after, I believe, tearing his ACL and MCL, which just sounds horrible.
Didn't he do
So
that in like the first week of the
yeah,
season?
it was
well?
like game 3 or something. So yeah, he has been gone all season. Mikey Anderson, who had been, taking on first pairing duties with Drew Doughty basically since he jumped into the league, he is out. He's been out since March, and no timetable for his return. Yeah, Tobias Bjornfoot missed a couple games with injury. He's back, but he was just healthy scratched because he's looked kind of meh lately. Matt Roy had been out, but has made his return and is kind of, you can tell he's, shaking the rust off, getting back up to speed. So, didn't have great games, but has at least looked a little better in the past, game or so. Again, notwithstanding that Colorado game, that was just
We don't
miserable.
talk about that.
No, we don't talk about Colorado. But so yeah, literally everyone was dead. At some point it was Olimata and the Ontario Reign on defense, essentially. Which bad. It has at least given us the debut of Jordan Spence, who has looked fantastic. He was a draft pick a couple seasons ago. This was his first year professional, and everyone just expected him to be in the AHL the whole year, maybe get a start at the end of the season or something. He has been thrust into a role that, like, we're like, all right, well, kid, here you go.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. And to his credit, he has adapted really quickly. He looks like an NHL defenseman. He's a very smart player. He's great on the power play. It's just too bad that the rest of the team is bad on the power play. But all these injuries that have at least given a little more insight as to what the depth chart looks like for the Kings and who can step up. But yeah, it's terrible timing to have all of your defensemen get hurt at the end of the season. And, your main one, Drew Doughty, love him or hate him, he's still the number one defenseman for the team. Even if the team does make the playoffs, he's, sitting in the press box watching. So that stinks.
Yeah, like regardless how you feel about Drew Doughty, he plays a bajillion minutes for this
All of
team.
them.
And
All
you've got to find those minutes from somewhere, and I don't feel like playing 21-year-old Jordan Spence like 26 minutes a night or whatever it was he played in the game against Calgary. That feels unsustainable.
Yeah. It's been very like defense by committee, and it's just sometimes the committee doesn't show up for work.
God, too relatable. I am thinking about Olimata. I feel like he was going to be really, really good. And then didn't he got really badly hurt, and then he got cancer, and then he had to go and do military service. And I feel like he's never really kind of bounced back after all of that, because I remember when he was very, very young, like I was like, oh man, this guy's going to be the new, like he's the replacement Chris Letang on the Penguins. And then obviously it all kind of went south from there, and I was really hoping that he would find his game in Los Angeles, but it does not seem to be happening.
No, yeah, he had like a really great like rookie, and then like second season with Pittsburgh, and it was also on kind of like juggernaut Pittsburgh teams too.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, it's just everything all at once for that poor guy, and the offense hasn't really come back, and you can make a long career. Excuse me. You can make a long career out of being a stay-at-home defenseman, which is what he's doing, but he's slow. I'm sorry, he's real slow. Just so slow.
Yeah, I feel like the it doesn't really fit into the new exciting speedy Kings that people seem to be
Yeah.
realizing is what's happening with the Kings. Like it's
Yeah.
not just the corpse of Dustin Brown anymore.
Right.
So in a minute, I think what we will do is flip the script, and you can ask me about my horrible children and my slightly less horrible children. But first, I feel like you've got to tell me something about snacks.
I am, because one way to keep your day going right and to avoid like getting hangry or, just all of the problems that come with not eating, like, when you should eat things, you can get a Built Bar. They are, first off, portable because they're bars. This big, and they're great to shove in your bag. You can take them to the gym, you can take them on the bus, whatever it is. You can have a great tasty snack that is also good for you. They are high in protein, low calories, low sugar, low fat, high in all the stuff that you want in your life, particularly chocolate. They're covered in 100% chocolate. They taste like you're eating a candy bar. And they also have the great Built Puffs, which are protein infused marshmallows, which also come in a ton of great flavors, including the locked on favorite, the Churro Puff, which does indeed taste like if you meshed a churro and a marshmallow. Pretty darn good. Built Bars themselves also have tons of flavors. So whether you're after something sweet like cookies and cream or something like fruity, they've got like orange and berry. You can find all those flavors on built.com. So go check it out. See all of the great options that they have available for you. And, pick your new favorite flavor. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and you'll get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com.
Oh, you froze.
Oh,
No,
no.
you're back,
Okay.
I think.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. This will
Okay.
be fun to edit.
Yay.
Welcome back to this special Locked On crossover, or a squadcast, as I believe was coined by Erica Ayala of the Seattle Kraken, which is a term that I really love. And we're sitting down, Sarah Avampato, Locked On Kings, Jay Foster, Locked On Blue Jackets, talking about our terrible teams. However, I think my team is slightly less terrible right now, which is strange and suspicious.
You never know. It's always like, when's the next shoe gonna drop? When are they gonna, do the thing?
Yeah, I mean, the Blue Jackets have been throwing shoes up and down all season. Like, as soon as one drops, the other one gets picked up. And I
Yeah.
feel like I've had about 17 shoes drop this season,
Yeah.
which also is coincidentally is the number of rookies we've had debut this season.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like one of the first things I wanted to ask about was, I know you've just signed some college kids whose seasons have ended. Some, I think one guy's already scored his first goal or first point or something. So what you already have a bunch of like terrible children, but now you have more new children. What's the child situation like for the Blue Jackets?
It's all. Last I checked, the adults on the team were Jake Voracek, who, in fairness, I feel like is like 3 adults, but also like the fun uncle kind of adult. So I don't know
The
that he necessarily counts.
beard adds to the,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Gus Nyquist, who, in fairness, is a very responsible dad-like figure. But we traded all of our adults in the off-season, so now we just have, a bunch of 18-year-olds. Like, there were, at one point, the second power play unit on the ice last night, as of the time of recording this, so Wednesday night, was 18-year-old Cole Sillinger, 19-year-old Kent Johnson, 21-year-old Jake Bean. It's just...
They're all
They're all
babies.
children. They're all children.
That's, I mean, how's that going for you?
Not as bad as could be expected. I feel like we talked about this the last time we did a squadcast, but the Blue Jackets have been better than expected. Question mark. I think because they were so young, everyone was like, well, obviously they're going to be terrible. Basically, all of the statistical models, except I think Mike and McCurdy's, had them at the bottom of the Metropolitan Division and, challenging for picking first overall. And they are not doing that. They are still, I believe, technically in the playoff race. Although if Toronto wins tonight, I think they get to stay alive another day. If Toronto loses, then they're out the playoffs, which seems unfair for our playoff hopes to rest on Toronto winning a hockey
Oh
game.
no, that's gross.
But yeah, for the most part, the kids have been good. Kozolin just got his 13th goal of the season. Most recently, he's quietly been very, very good on a decidedly average Blue Jackets team, and I think it's a real rough year to be a rookie because there have been so many good rookies and so many flashy good rookies. Like obviously Trevor Zegras is doing flips and like backflipping his way into the goal and stuff. And Morris Seider has been just phenomenal over in Detroit, and the world's oldest man, Michael Bunting, has been like amazing people because he can still walk without a cane. And so Sillon just kind of flown under the radar, but he has been quietly very, very good, I think.
Yeah, feels like a player in like any other year, more people would know what's going on with him. But yeah, there's so many other guys that have just exploded out of nowhere. Again, like Michael Bunting, like 34-year-old rookie or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you put anyone on a line with guys like Austin Matthews, like
you could put me on a line with Austin Matthews and I'd probably score 20 goals a season.
Right.
Like
just
all you have to do is we actually have a guy in on my beer league team, but we have two guys. So one of them is a Canadian expat who moved over here for work, and then we have a guy that was born over here, and obviously the Canadian guy is world's better because he played like AAA junior hockey in Ontario or whatever. And the British guy scored like the last full season we did before obviously COVID shut the world down. The last full season, he scored like 15 goals in the season entirely because all he was doing was waiting for Ken, the Canadian guy, to get the puck and then just sprinting straight for the goal with his stick on the ice. And he scored like 15 goals like that. So that would be my plan.
Yeah.
If I was on a line with Austin Matthews or Mitch Marner, I would literally just as soon as one of them had the puck, I would be like,
go.
I'm gonna go straight for the net, stick on the ice, hope for the best.
Done. Amazing.
Yeah. Michael Bunting.
Yeah. Congratulations to him for the world's easiest rookie season. You also have like we've talked about him before on the show, but your greyhound and a snood, Patrick Lainey, who I feel like anytime I look at his stats, I just feel like as an outsider, as someone who doesn't really, I feel like you're my gateway to Blue Jackets content. Like, but I feel like the wider world of sports, just everyone just always like, oh, Patrick Laine is like having such a bad season. He's a point per game player right now. Like, why is there this disconnect between like what Patrick Laine is actually doing and everyone else just assuming that somehow he's like washed already?
Yeah, I mean, like the instinct is to be like, oh, because he's playing in Columbus and no one cares about Columbus, even when the team is good, they have to like fight for any kind of national attention. Like they didn't get a national game this season. They haven't. They got like one last season, one the season before, and it's usually against someone like Tampa Bay or Pittsburgh where they get like curb stomped, and everyone's like, "Wow, the Blue Jackets are a terrible team." Blah blah blah. So I think it's partially that you're playing in a city that doesn't have it's a small market. It's the same as guys that play in Arizona or up until like this most recent season, like Florida, I feel like was a similar team where people are like, oh my god, did we know that Jonathan Huberdeau was this good at hockey? And I'm like, yes. People who watch the Florida Panthers have known this for a long time, So I think partially it's that. Partially it's because everyone still remembers that rookie season he had where he scored like 40 goals. And also I think partially because he's kind of been hot and cold this season. I think everyone expected him to basically get staple to Jake Voracek, and Jake Voracek would just feed him the puck all season,
Yeah.
and he would have like a bajillion goals. And that hasn't really happened. He's on, I think, 26 goals last I checked, but he's got about that many assists. So it's very much a case of he's a point per game, but I think people are expecting a lot more goals from him than they're getting, which again is kind of partially because Boone Jenner kept stealing all of his power play goals by doing the Michael Bunting method of just standing in front of the net and letting the pucks bounce off him. Michael Bunting, if you listen to this, I'm very sorry. I'm sure you're a very talented player, but I try not to pay attention to Toronto. But so he has, like, he had a 3-point game last night because it was a goal and 2 assists. Like, everyone's like, oh my God, the sky is falling. People get twitchy when goal scorers get assists.
And I feel like it's like, I mean, because the big complaint about him was always like, oh, he's one-dimensional. Like, he can score goals, but what else can he do? And so, I would think as, again, like an outsider to the situation, I would be excited to see my goal scorer also turning in assists. Like, he's maybe diversified his game a little bit more. Like, that's not
he still like
thing.
Can't really, like, it's still a nice surprise when he like back checks or like does a defense. But like, I don't know, it's you're paying Patrick Lainey for the wow factor. Patrick Lainey is one of those players that is very clearly the main character in their own head.
Yes.
You get some players that are like, God, I can't think of anyone immediately off the top of my head that's like a supporting character kind of player, even if they are a star themselves. Oliver Bjorkstrand might be a really good, like, he's clearly a supporting character, even though he's probably the second best goal scorer on the team. He's an elite transition guy. He's a really, really underrated, sneaky good player. Patrick Laine is the main character, and I think he thinks that he's the main character for everyone else as well, and he's fun, and you like, I don't know, he's exciting to watch all the time. Even when he doesn't score, I think you can see he's trying stupid stuff, and he's got that shot, the Ovechkin shot. He's a lot of fun, and I don't know how I feel about assigning him to a super long-term contract this offseason. I still don't know whether it's going to happen, but if Jarmo Kekalainen was like, we will give you $8 million for 8 years, I wouldn't be upset.
Right.
Necessarily. But it'll be interesting to see how the contract goes. And I think that's the other thing is people are like, well, he's making $7.5 million a year right now. He should be a point per game player. He should be better than a point per game player.
Right.
It's the Mitch Marner argument of he's earning what, 12? Mitch Marner's on something stupid like $12 million.
That'd be ridiculous. Like, listen, we can't all be Connor McDavid.
Yeah, like that. Like, yeah, you should be. Just be grateful with what you have. Columbus hasn't had a star player maybe since Rick Nash. Like, arguably Artemi Panarin for the like season and a half he was here for, but like since Patrick Laine might be the most exciting player since Rick Nash.
Yeah.
So
I like it. Good for him.
Yeah, I'm really happy. He had kind of a down season last season, and I think that also was what prompted the wow, he's a bust. The guy's 23. Chill.
Right.
Also he was super injured at the start of the season. He was out for like 2 months, and then his dad died, and then he came back, and I think that was when he was like, right, well, I'm going to score.
Yeah,
I think he did 21 goals in 18 games, returning from injury or something.
Of course he did.
Like, he's
totally normal.
Patrick Laine is fine.
It's a totally normal thing to do.
Yeah, he's fine. Calm down. In a minute, I think we'll talk about the game on Sunday. I don't think there are no ex-Blue Jackets left on the Kings anymore now that Jeff Carter's gone. So there's no one to score revenge goals against us. But we'll talk about how we think the game is going to go in just. I've got to tell you about BetOnline, because if I was a betting man, I would have put money on Jeff Carter scoring a revenge goal against Columbus, because that's what Jeff Carter loves to do. And I would probably find the odds for that over at betonline.net, which is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports information. You've had all the latest sports developments, league reviews, news, including basketball players to start the Major League Baseball season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information needs, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. They've got hockey, they've got baseball, they've got basketball, they've got like odds for who the next fired coach is going to be in football, which is very funny considering it's the off season. They've got boxing, they've got UFC, they've got your favorite Vegas casino game. So if you're a blackjack kind of guy, you can get that at betonline.net. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action, because BetOnline is where the game starts. So I feel like this game is going to go one of two ways. It's either going to be just a complete revenge game for the Kings, who just got embarrassed by Colorado, probably want to lick their wounds and are going to come out swinging the next game, or they're going to be broken by Colorado. It's just going to be a miserable game.
God, I hate how right that is, because and I think that, it's a little late in the season to be trying to figure out where your team is emotionally. We're kind of down to the wire here, but it'll be interesting to see how they respond, because they've had both of those games this season. We had a really crappy game, the next game they turn around and you're like, oh wow, they look amazing. And then they've had really bad games and they turn in an even worse performance the next time. So like, I'm leaning towards the even worse performance next time, largely because I have to stick with I got away from it for a little while and I've been burned now. Like, my thought of, if I say the Kings are going to win, they embarrass me, so I just have to like assume that they're going to lose. Oddly, it
And then
doesn't work.
either you're right
Yeah,
or you're pleasantly surprised.
right. Like, and oddly, it doesn't work in the opposite direction of like, oh, if I assume they're going to, well, yeah, it's just this team hates me, really, is the moral of the story. But yeah, I feel like I expect them to. I want to see them come out strong. I want to see them, from the jump, look good and do all the things that have made them successful. But I don't trust them. I don't trust them.
Hockey, I feel like, is a sport that is big on trusting and big on like team and this like unshakable
Mhm.
bond, but also I've never trusted anything less than I trust my team with like a 2-goal lead with
Yeah,
3 minutes left in the game,
yeah.
because I've been burned so many times this season. Are the Kings still terrible at special teams?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Horrible?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just pretty decidedly mediocre. Every so often, the power play will do something, and you're like, "Oh, look at that. No, could you do that every time?" And then the answer is no. They did it once, and then, like, never again.
Well, if you did it more, you'd start to expect it every time, and
Right.
then that's just not sustainable.
Yeah.
The Blue Jackets have been sneaky good on the power play. I'm just pulling up where they are in the league now. They've killed off, well, they allowed a power play goal last night
Mm,
to Montreal, obviously. Ryan
okay.
Poehling scored. I didn't know he
Oh,
was allowed to do that.
he still exists, first off.
He sure does. It was mostly Nick Suzuki. I think the goal mostly just
Mm,
bounced off of Poehling,
yeah,
but
yeah. Yeah, I looked it up because I was curious. Over season overall, the Kings have a power play that is connecting at 16.5%. Or
oh
16,
no.
yeah, 16.5. The only teams below them are the Kraken, the Coyotes, the Canadiens, and the Flyers. So they're not down there with like, the greatest teams in the league. Penalty kill is equally aggressively mediocre. Well, slightly better. They're 22nd in the league in terms of penalty kill, 76.4%. Only slightly worse than Vegas. And you know what? I'll take that. I'll take Vegas being bad.
I
I'll
will
take
accept being bad if
That's a good
Vegas is
trade-off.
also bad.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, the Blue Jackets are currently 25th on power play, which is impressive. I think that might be the season high for them. The power play has been, it's weird. The Blue Jackets, I was told going into the season that the Blue Jackets were going to score 1,000,000 goals, but also the defense was going to be super bad. And
Mhm,
turns out
mhm.
only one of those things is true, and it wasn't the fun one.
Oh,
Um,
no.
the power play was really good for a while, and I was like, okay, yes, listen, let's just put Patrick Lainey and Zach Werenski and Jake Voracek out there, and two literally any other guys. You could put two pylons out there, I don't care, and just let those three go. And they've struggled. The power play has been bad. It's been better lately. Patrick Laine scored a power play goal against Montreal, but again, I feel like that's not necessarily the hardest thing in the world based on where Montreal's penalty kill stats are, but it could be. I feel like this is going to be just a really messy game. Just a really incompetent game with a really stupid game-winning goal.
Yeah, that feels right. That feels right.
It feels spiritually right for these two teams.
It does. Like, and especially if the Kings are coming into this one with this sort of like ticked off attitude after losing to Colorado, who incidentally, Colorado was perfect on the power play against the Kings this year. Every time the Kings took a penalty, the Avalanche scored on them.
How many?
I think it was like just I think it was 5. Which, you know, considering
okay.
It's not as bad as it could have been, but I saw that fact online.
Sorry,
I was like, I'm going to walk into traffic. Like, that's horrible. But so yeah, I expect them to come in off. Brendan Lemieux, our resident fighting / biting guy, has been he was a healthy scratch. He was hurt for a while, came back in the lineup, looked pretty bad. Was a healthy scratch, especially now with like Dustin Brown is back. He is alive again. And then for some reason, our young defenseman Sean Durzi has decided he wants to punch people sometimes, which I would prefer he didn't. But like, it's gonna be this game's gonna be messy. I love mess.
Yeah, it's not gonna be good hockey. I think is the general vibe of this game is bad. It's going to be incompetent hockey. Someone's probably going to get hurt, and someone really unlikely is going to. One of our newest children is like 5'9", and was throwing himself around like a madman last night against the Canadiens. So I assume he's going to try and murder like
Dustin Brown,
Jacob or something, and just bounce off him.
Yeah,
but we'll see how it goes. As I like to do before we kind of finish off every crossover episode, I would like the final score prediction and the game-winning goal scorer from you.
I am going to go 4-3 overtime win for the Blue Jackets because I'm not allowed to say the Kings are going to win anymore. So Blue Jackets going to win. And I do like the idea of the overtime, the game-winning goal being someone like just really ridiculous. I'm going to give it to what's his face, Cole Sillinger, because I want to, and because I don't know that you're going to put your like playing in his second NHL game guy on the power or on out in overtime. But please don't tell me that Cole Sillinger is hurt or something, because then I'll
Cole Sillinger is ready and raring to go. I'm also going to say 4-3 Blue Jackets overtime win. But I'm going to go with the guy that has literally in the last 2 games, the Blue Jackets have scored 10 goals in total.
No. Oh no.
No. So what did I say in the last 5 games? I meant in the last 2 games. In the last 2 games, the Blue Jackets have scored 10 goals total.
Okay, that's good.
Jack Roslovic has scored 5 of those by himself.
Oh.
So I'm going to go 4-3 Blue Jackets overtime win. Jack Roslovic with his 3rd consecutive game winner. He had the game winner last night against Montreal, and he had the overtime game winner against Detroit.
Oh, that's spicy. Yeah. Feels right.
Seems like fun.
Yeah.
Also, it's a friend of mine's birthday on Sunday, and she is a big Jack Roslovic fan, so hopefully he has been drinking his Respect Lily juice, as the youth say.
As the youth say. We'll see.
Yeah.
Good luck.
It's not going to be fun. I'm not looking forward to this game.
It's going to be gross.
I was like, hey, I get to talk to Sarah for the podcast, and then I was like, oh, my teams have to play each other. This is going to be bad. For people who would like to know more about the Kings, they have a lot of terrible children, just like the Blue Jackets. Where can they find you to learn more about? I don't know, Adrian Kempe's perfect hair. Who we didn't even talk about Adrian Kempe.
We didn't. His hair is
and where can people find comments about that?
It's perfect. We'll make sure to talk about it on the next Mini Kings Monday. Maybe he will toss it at some point during this game. You can find me on Twitter at Right Said Sarah. If you're looking at the YouTube, it is down below my face. The show is on Twitter at Locked On LA Kings. You can follow along there as I tweet things like "Stay in your net" and "Dear God, why?" whenever they take another penalty. So you can find that there. The show is, of course, available wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also hear me on Wednesdays on Locked On NHL, where we talk all about the Western Conference. So that is where I'm at.
And you can find me over at _ Jacob Foster. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, it is down here because my name is ridiculous to spell. We have a dog. There is a dog on the podcast. I'm delighted. You can find the show over at Locked On Blue Jackets. And I think that's everything.
Yeah, there's your incentive for watching. It's your incentive for watching on YouTube, because if you're just listening to the podcast, you don't get to see the dog that just popped up over my shoulder, and is currently like kicking me in the back. So there's
I didn't know that she was there.
Yeah.
Until...
So there's your incentive to watch on YouTube sometimes.
Yes. Now that you've listened to this entire podcast, go back and watch it on the YouTubes. But thank you for making us your first listen or your first watch of the day. Enjoy the dog content. Try to enjoy the game on Sunday. I don't think either of us will, but one of you probably should try. Yeah. And until Monday, make sure you stay locked on.